14-hour day yesterday, so no Latinum for you, Limpus. Well, I can understand that. I mean, if you had the whip, you only need like 10 minutes to get the event done. But if you didn't have the whip, it was, we'll say, 10 plus hours. For most people, it was closer to 12 to 14. I finished it in about 9.5 with my tier 11 Fisha. Yeah, I finished about 9.5 hours of mining CLAT without the whip. It was certainly an interesting event. We'll get more into it later, but obviously I'm always curious to hear your guys' thoughts, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Ace, thank you very much for renewing your subscription for month number 11. Very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. Totally lost my train of thought. What was I doing? Oh, I was going to do Q's trials. Got to get some proto matter for our other event that's going on right now. Whew. Ace, you had the whip. Yeah, if you had the whip, it was minutes to complete, and that was kind of the point. Of course, hey, we're gonna sell this thing, and we want people to buy it. So here's an event that's really easy to do if you give us $50. Oh, and by the way, here's the second event that will also potentially be a little easier for you to do as well if you also spent that money. Yeah, yeah. There was definitely a lot of people complaining in Discord servers that were not happy about, the amounts and the time commitment and, finding difficulty finding nodes, and, you know, based on some servers ROEs and things. If you're not allowed to hit miners unless they're OPC, people were parking Meridians and Amalgams and Horizons and stuff on CLAT nodes just trying to get secondary ships and scoring mechanisms to grind out any points they could, and it was creating some bottlenecks and things like that and slowing down other people from finishing. Having a few more CLAT nodes available, or at least a few bigger CLAT nodes, might have been more beneficial for sure. Hey, Carissa, welcome on in. Ace, you got the whip rather than the treasury. Well, you saved yourself $50 then, I guess, because the whip was only 50 compared to the $100 treasury pack. But I definitely understand that point about. I mean, there are plenty of there's a lot of systems out there that have, you know, obviously in the lower spaces, they don't start till about 36 here. You get, one or two here. These are easily reachable warp 40 or less. But after that, it does get a little dicey. You've got one extra one up here, so you've got about 3 per faction. 1, 2, 3 in Romulan, kind of the same thing. And a lot of these systems were full. Some of them you can actually park a base in, like Wolf, I think, is the one that's most people go to. Sorry, Wolf, because you can actually park your base there, and people do this and load and do all kinds of mining there. But the bigger nodes are where you also see higher speeds, and you get a little better, return on investment for your travel time, getting up here into the 43 and then up into the 47 if your warp range is high enough. This is like 135. So you got to have a few levels on that fascia. And then as you start to get up here into the 49s in the faction space, there's more. Not exactly sure why we still have regular Latinum systems in, deep faction space. We also don't have any C-lat nodes. Where's my G5 space? In G5 space that I've come across yet. And maybe that could be a nice addition as well. Putting some of these systems here don't have anything. So maybe adding some bigger, especially now with the whip, maybe adding some bigger C-lat nodes and some of these 50 plus systems, especially because the fascia's got pretty high. I mean, mine's 399. You got some pretty good warp range on this thing. Let's put, make a 52 and a 54 or 55 system in each faction. Have additional C-lat nodes. I think that would be a good takeaway. I mean, we have the ones over here in the Delta sector. You've got a couple out here. You've got Delta and then Sigma, which are nice. I think they're 700,000 nodes. And then if you go a little further out here, you also have these other ones here. But these require a little bit higher warp range. Like these are only 205, which you can get to, I think, with like a tier 7 or tier 8 fascia. But then you get these guys, which is 255, and then the big one out here is 320. Which we'll fly out there and take a look, because I forget what the size of these nodes are. I think this one might be like 900K, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 850. But it would be nice to see a couple more concentrated Latinum nodes, especially if they intend to repeat this event again. I'm sure the intent behind the event was to sell Ferengi whips. And if people are having trouble finding nodes and doing things like that, they get frustrated. What do they do instead? They say, screw it. They spend the 50 bucks, get the whip, and then they go to one of the low-level systems and just, mine move for, 10 seconds at a time. Like you're basically like you're grinding, data mining. That's how fast you're moving on and off the nodes, right? Or Voyager on the regular nodes. 10 seconds, fill, move. 10 seconds, move. And it worked. I know a lot of people who did buy the whip just so they could finish the event fast and not have to worry about it. The refinery certainly helps. The refinery bonuses are pretty solid and pretty strong. As I outlined last week in the video that's on my YouTube channel, that somebody in my alliance told me they weren't wasting their time watching, that they would just ask Rev instead. So, yeah. But what do you guys think? Server has ROE that only allows fascia on concentrated lat, and all other miners are fair game. There are some servers that do have rules like that, so people couldn't park secondary miners on there. If you weren't able to, you might have come up short, depending on how tiered up your fascia was. I know I came up slightly short on my free-to-play account with my, just single fascia that's a little undersized. Needs to be, basically just needs to be leveled up. I think it's like tier 7, but I think I'm only like level 21 or 22, just because the ship XP is so much and I don't have a lot of Latinum to burn on that. So probably just need to go, park it overnight or go grind out some hostels and get some of that ship XP done to get that mining rate up faster. But yes, obviously different ROEs are going to make this event play out differently on each server, for sure. Carissa hopes we get another event that gives out 400 more tokens, and then you'll be able to unlock Ta'ana. That does seem likely. It does seem likely that we will get another event, perhaps this weekend, perhaps early next week. That will, I guess there's only a few days left, though, in the recruit, right? So there's only 5 days left in this. Ooh, claim your key. I will take my weekly key, thank you. Yes, there's only 5 days left in this. So hopefully, yes, we do get another event for those people. I know obviously a lot of people are mad because they didn't finish the first weekend's event because they looked at it and said, well, it's not worth finishing because even if I do finish it, I'm still going to have to buy something in the store. And if I don't want to spend money on it, well, then I'm not doing it. There's no point, there's no urgency for me to complete this. So they skipped it. And now here come these other events getting dropped that would have let them complete it, and now they're mad because they would have participated if they had known. Again, this is not a new feature, a new mechanic. Sometimes they do that, and yes, you have to buy the second half of something. Other times they don't do it, and now you end up at a point where you still end up with half of something, and now you're thinking, am I missing out? You get that fear of missing out, and then you make that impulse buy and you buy something. It's just, marketing tactics that we've seen before. Absolutely. Could have just said screw it and ignored the event. That is also true. If, the Ta'ana polls themselves, not very good in terms of opening these packs and the amount of like new officers that you get. I think every pack I opened, I either got like I got maybe one Ta'ana and one ransom, and then it was a bunch of officers that I already have a lot of. So it wasn't like this didn't help a whole lot with sourcing the newest officers. It was a lot more of the old officers, but there's the secret hidden reward for those who did full participation that you might end up getting Ta'ana for free. Now, of course, the flip side to that coin is even if you got Ta'ana, she's still not all that great. She doesn't solve the problem she's intended to solve. Because her boosting isolytic defense, as we've talked about, isn't enough to offset all the isolytic damage increases and the critical cascade and all those other bonuses and multipliers. But I am going to agree with DJ on this one. He was talking about this last night. The fact that this event, normally what we see are events like this, which is, hey, if you buy this new thing in the Prime, you get this extra bonus reward. And the only way to complete this event is to actually buy the thing. Whereas this time around, at least, as annoying as it was, at least there was a way to complete this event without buying the thing. Also, worth noting, even if you didn't finish the event, even getting it halfway done, getting to your halfway point, still got you rewards. It was not an all or nothing like the other, buy one events are. So I do feel like if this is setting a precedent for how some of these events may be run in the future, I'd like that. I like where that's going. I like where that can build on. Could we tweak these milestones a little bit and not make them like 10 to 14 hour grinds? Maybe make them more like, 8 to 12 hour grinds or something, just shave a little bit off. Just drop them like 10%. Make it a little bit better. Yes. But the framework for the event, I definitely like, and hopefully this gets repeated again month after month, instead of seeing events that look just like this, which are, hey, buy this, and then we'll give you this thing. Also worth noting, it could have been worse. This Gold Rush event was rewarding things that are like a side token, a side benefit. This easily could have been the Freeman event, right? They could have put it in here. I mean, like, hey, you want to complete this? Well, here's your event for the day. Go mine a crap ton of concentrated latinum to get your point so you can get Freeman. And then, of course, you'd have people who were, upset or distressed that maybe they wouldn't be able to get enough points to finish this because there's no way they could finish that event. So, thankfully, they did not do that either. And I feel like that's a good takeaway from this event as well. First weekend milestones were also scaled rather high, given the milestones last month. Yes, the milestones for the Ta'ana event weekend number 1 were unusually high, all things considered. Daddy Dave agrees. The mechanics of the event was almost perfect, in my opinion, for free to play, but have the pay reduce the grind. Yep. Maybe reduce the milestones by 20%. You're a little bit more generous than I would be on that. I think they were close. I think they've maybe just a subtle little tweak, a little nudge. I mean, I guess you could aim for 20% and we'll compromise on 10. So overall, I like the premise behind the event. And if they want to do something like it again, that would be cool with me. In the meantime, I'll just go ahead and I'm going to work on this extra little ship XP a little bit. Try and get this up another level or two. I think I finally scrapped my regular Devore. I'm in the process of, I think, scrapping a regular Devore. Or maybe I have a regular. Yeah, scrapping a regular Devore. No. I'm building a new Devore so I can scrap the old one, I think, to get a second Fisha, just in case. I don't know that this event will come back again, but I do want to make sure that I am prepared for it, I guess, just in case. Carissa has not invested any money into her Devore or Fisha with real money. Was able to finish it easily with a Tier 9 Fisha, a Tier 4 Fisha, and a Vortivore running Arok as captain with synergy. Arok on a secondary ship certainly does help quite a bit. Even just having a regular Devore and getting into some of these regular Latinum systems, or especially getting into Suliban, if you can grab one of these nodes, which have such a multiplier of rates here compared to other regular nodes. All right, so my Fisha would, or if you have, well, that'd be a waste. If you had the glass skin, you could mine this super fast with your regular, but there's really no point in doing that because the point values are so much lower. But just by comparison, you can see that one would be 3,000. And if I went to some place like this, we're mining at 1,600. So it's almost double in Suliban. It would also be nice if Suliban had more than 3 nodes. Can we up the count on this a little bit? Just tweak it? If we take out 1 or 2 of those other systems that we don't need and make them CLAT nodes instead, can we bump this up to 5 or 6 nodes in here, please? That would also help make some of these events a little more palatable. Dave asks, a Devore must be max tier and level for scrapping. Carissa already responded and said tier 9 level 41. That is correct. In fact, if you try and scrap it now, it actually tells you in like the in-game tooltip. I don't know if I can, it won't show me now because I already have a ship scrapping, but like if you try and scrap a Devore, it tells you it gets these data cores. If you click on the data core, gained by scrapping the original Devore, scrap a level 41 or higher Devore to fully unlock the Devore Fisha. You'd have to know to click on the core to see what the heck it is in order to get that fun little tooltip. But if you do, it kind of tells you where you need to be. So we might end up scrapping one of these guys, and then I'll level this one up a little further, and we'll get a second Fisha going, because I think I only have the one. I'm only 1 component away, I think, from maxing it out. So that'll be done in a couple days as well. So, all in all, yes, it was a very tedious and very time-consuming event, but it's also a mining event. It's not like you had to go out and grind 500 hostiles in a day or something like that. It was at least miners that you could set, 35, 45-minute timers on. Let's see how big these nodes are. Oh, that one's only got 20 seconds. Let's go over there. So this is Tarna. This is the level 55 system. This is the furthest concentrated latinum node that I've yet to see actually in the game. This system does only have 6 nodes in it, which is pretty low. But these nodes are bigger. These are 987. So these are almost a million. By the way, mining concentrated latinum also does help finish this 2-day event. You can also do by just mining regular G4 and G5 resources as well pretty quickly. But I mean, since I'm already out here. I don't know if Anders has the same what size nodes are in here. We'll go take a look. But knowing that these are almost a million here in Tarna, if you have the warp 320 to get there, is pretty cool. Voodoo spent the $49.99, had it done in 20 minutes. That was the intent. That was clearly Scopely's design of creating the event, was rewarding the people who bought the new thing that they are very much trying to sell, and making it easy for those people, making it so easy that it was an additional incentive to do it. Not only are you getting the rewards for the event, but you also don't have to spend all afternoon or all evening or tie up multiple docks with 3, 4, or 5 miners. You could just take care of it pretty quickly and be done with your one lone Fisha. So let's just see what we have here in Anders as well, as far as the size of latinum nodes. I haven't been in these systems in a little while. Okay, so this one looks like it's also got the nodes are about 700,000. This is the same as the other system, although it does have a higher warp range to get here, which may make it a little more exclusive. It's got about the same number of nodes too. There's 3, 7, about 12 nodes in here. So mining speed 777 there. We'll go back to here. If I'm going to stay out here and do this, I might as well do it right. So yeah, that's my take on the event. There's a decent chance we'll see something like this again in the future, so I don't know that we'll see it immediately. Maybe we'll see it again before the end of the month. Maybe they'll run this again over the weekend to give out those last 400 Ta'ana shards. Maybe they'll do it next Monday, because the arc ends... Well, when does the arc end? 5 days? Battle Pass ends in 5 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it'll end Monday morning, and then Latinum Rush would start. So they would have to do it again. If they were going to do something like this again, they would have to do it over the weekend. Maybe we'll see a different event. Maybe just the heroic SMS or whatever this weekend, which we don't know what it's going to be, but obviously there is a spend officer event of some type, which they have yet to reveal. Will have those additional Ta'ana shards in it. Because otherwise, you're having to come in here and make some type of purchase. I'm not even sure I even see it. Oh, there it is, the senior recruit. I'm like, where did it go? So if you came up slightly short, you'd still have to come in here and make the Ta'ana purchase here and spend $100 for it, which again I know people don't want to do. Might be more inclined to do so if the officer was more of an antidote, but she's basically like putting a band-aid over a bullet wound. Yeah, it stops the bleeding a little bit, but you're probably still gonna die. This is slightly higher. I get 790 an hour. Okay, so I'm mining slightly at a slightly better rate here, so we'll just park it there for now.